Hey everybody, Kazar Alexander here, and I told you guys to be on the lookout for a little bit of a different special video that will be coming out. I said last week, but that's my fault. I've been really busy, so we're actually getting to it now, and the video should be either up today or tomorrow. So although it'll be today for you either way because you'll be watching it. So yeah, today we're doing a top 5 Bond films, top 3 Bond girls, and then the expectations and ideas for Spectre, which will be coming out next year. So yeah, I'm here today with a good friend of mine. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Phillip. I'm a journalist for Youth One.
Youth One, that is badass as hell. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get going with this. So I'll get started with my top 5 Bond films, and just note that my list is going to be very similar to his, except with the exception of with one film, because we've already pretty much discussed our list. So I would say top 5 for me. Number 5 would probably be Live and Let Die. It was like a Bond film that was really super Americanized in terms of kind of going to the it took the jive of the 80s and put a lot more African Americans in the film, and it made it very American. And then terrific Bond girl as well. Just a great film. I'd say probably my favorite Bond theme song as well, from Paul McCartney. That was a good one. And yeah, good film. Live and Let Die, number 5. I would say number 4, probably Casino Royale. I hate to put it that low because I love Casino Royale so much, but it actually took me like 2 or 3 times watching it to really get into it, because I gotta be honest, at first I was not a Daniel Craig person. Like, it took me a while to get used to his bit, and then I started really loving Daniel Craig after I saw what a good job he did with Skyfall. And then I went back, watched Casino Royale, and I was like, holy shit, this was actually really good. I was just being a dick. So Casino Royale was great. Ava Green was terrific in it. I love Mads Mikkelsen. He's probably my favorite foreign actor, and I thought he played a really good Le Chiffre in that movie. So yeah, I would say Casino Royale at 4. Number 3, I would go with Goldeneye. Basically the film that got me into Bond. Most people would disagree with that at 3, but fuck that. Yeah, Goldeneye at 3, Pierce Brosnan, the ultimate Bond. He is James Bond in my eyes, on and off screen. Natalia came from that, and I played Goldeneye on the channel, so I knew I had to get in. And side note, Natalia is an annoying bitch. So yeah, at least we got the genesis of her. I don't remember the name of the actress that played Natalia, but god damn it, I wish they'd had a different female lead in that one, because the game. Anyways, yeah, so Goldeneye at 3. Number 2, I go with Goldfinger. Most people will say this is where probably Skyfall should be. At least most newer Bond fans. A lot of Daniel Craig haters don't like Skyfall just because Daniel Craig's in it, but it reminded me very much of The Dark Knight. Like, how the fuck could you hate? I hate Batman, and The Dark Knight was fucking spectacular. And Skyfall was very much the same way. You don't have to like the actors to appreciate the quality of the story and the acting within. Plus, it had Bond girls, but they didn't really play a huge part, which I enjoyed, because to me, Bond is best when there's not a romantic interest, even if it is traditionally a part of the storyline. I think that it's best when he's just kind of focused and doing his own thing, and it's more just about him and his past. So I really liked it, as opposed to something which focused a central part of the story on the romance side of it. So that would be number 2 for me, and then number 1 would be Goldfinger. That it is without a doubt the top Bond film of all time, at least in my opinion. It was not the first Bond film, but the first real blockbuster. It's got the best Bond film, Goldfinger, and it's got probably the most memorable Bond line that I can think of. Probably the most memorable one outside of James Bond's actual introduction would be, "Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die." Yeah, that one. So that comes straight from Goldfinger, and everybody loves the Bond girl in that one. We'll talk more about her later. Pussy Galore. What a great fucking name for a person. So yeah, that's my top 5 list. His is going to be pretty similar. Note that I did steal from his list, not the other way around. So yeah, without any further ado, I'll let Philip get to his list.
All right, for number 5, I would go along with Casey's choice with Live and Let Die. It was a great film, but it wasn't the best James Bond film that I've ever seen. Number 4, I would say From Russia with Love. Number 3, I would have to go with Casino Royale. I mean, with that film, I started liking Daniel Craig as the James Bond guy, because before he wasn't, with his first film he wasn't as good, but then he started becoming a better James Bond film, not just this straightforward, serious type of guy. Number 2, I would have to go with Skyfall. I mean, it was a great film overall, but I think what really stole the film for me was Javier Bardem's performance as the villain in that film. He pretty much pulled a Heath Ledger on everybody and gave this performance that blew everybody away, even Daniel Craig. He was the psychopathic guy that took psychopathic villain that just stole the film from everybody. And he gave an impact that nobody else had. And number 1, I would have to say, has to be Goldfinger. I mean, Sean Connery is, in my opinion, is the best James Bond film. No offense, Casey, but Pierce Brosnan, I mean, Sean Connery is the James Bond. Without him, James Bond wouldn't be so memorable today.
That's true, and Sean Connery is not only one of my favorite actors of all time, he is a personal hero of mine, so you'll get no argument from me on that. Sean Connery's a bad motherfucker. So, so those are our lists. Now we have top 3 Bond girls for you guys, and I'll let him actually do this one first since I did the other one first. By the way, just remark, in my total idiocy, forgot to mention the extremely wonderful performance by Javier Bardem in Skyfall. That was incredible. I was not a fan. I don't know if you were a fan of, what was that name? He was a villain in that movie too. Coen Brothers. No Country for Old Men. Was not a fan of it. Yeah. Loved it all the way up until the end, and then it just sort of ended. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, Javier Bardem was like the only part of that movie that I could still really enjoy as Anton Chigurh, but he was so good in Skyfall, and I've been checking his IMDb page ever since to see what he's going to be in. Unfortunately, he's coming out with this shitty, horrible new movie with Sean Penn, whom I can't stand, The Gunman.
The Gunman, yeah.
And I'm not going to be seeing that because Sean Penn is in it. But, Javier, anything else you do, as long as it's not with Sean Penn or the douchebag who played Steve Jobs, Ashton Kutcher, I will see it. So with that, you can go ahead and do the top girls list.
All right, with my top girls, with my number 3 girls list has to be Honor Blakeman from Goldfinger. I mean, she's just such an. She really stands out along Sean Connery and really makes Goldfinger such a great film with her and Sean Connery in it. Number 2, I would have to say Eva Green. Eva Green is fucking beautiful. And, I mean, with her in Casino Royale, it was just a great film because with her and Daniel Craig, they really pulled it off as that 1-2 punch in that James Bond film. And number 1, I would have to say, is Halle Berry for Die Another Day. Halle Berry is beautiful, and her and Pierce Brosnan had extreme chemistry in that film. Like, they just had a lot of chemistry, which made her performance even better than the other James Bond girls.
Probably the biggest celebrity to play a Bond girl, don't you think? I mean, that's the biggest one I can remember. At the time where she played it, she was pretty big at the time. Yeah,
because usually the James Bond girls that they pick are like these actresses from Russia, or like these B or C list actors that nobody knows about. You don't see a Jennifer Lawrence or a Jennifer Aniston playing a Bond girl.
Thank God for that. Now that I'm thinking of it, that's actually a good thing. I don't want Jennifer Lawrence anywhere near James Bond.
Yeah.
So my list is kind of similar. I would go with... I'm going to cheat a little bit and go with Naomi Harris at 3. I know she's not technically she kind of is the love interest for Bond in some of the newer films, but it's kind of like a piece on the side. Or actually, let me take that back. It is the main love interest, but he treats her like a piece on the side. But really, it's going to be the one that Bond ends up with. At the end of the day, it's the one. It's like the wife who's like, "Oh, you go out and cheat on me all the time, but what the fuck?" So yeah, Moneypenny's always played that role, and Naomi Harris was just an incredible choice for Moneypenny. I love what she brings to the series, hot as hell, and yeah, I'll take Naomi Harris all the time. Barbara Bach from The Spy Who Loved Me. It took me a while to like get this list down, searching all the Bond girls on Google because I didn't know all their names off the top of my head. But I looked her up, saw her face, and then specifically, like instinctually, just remembered her and what a standout role she had in that movie. She just really stood out to me among all the other ones. I remember her face very specifically, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to choose her because I remember her playing just a great role in The Spy Who Loved Me, which is still what I would say that was probably be number 6 on my Bond films list. And then number 1, Honor Blackman. The scene where she's dead and her naked body is painted in gold, it kind of like that is the genesis of the real Bond girl. That's where it kind of all spawned from, because at that point everybody just wanted to see more of that shit, which is like, why wouldn't you? She had a banging body. There she is, naked, painted in gold. She's dead, but do you go after it? How long has it been? In fairness, you may still be able to hit that so long as it's fresh. Just saying. So we have a spectator in the room, and he's cringing at that one. That's good shit. So anyways, yeah, those are top Bond girls. So just before we go here, let's talk about the new upcoming Film Spectre big cast list. Obviously, Daniel Craig returning, Naomi Harris returning, Ralph Fiennes returning as M,
and Judi Dench returning.
No, she's dead.
She's not? Oh,
no, she died off in the last one.
That sucks.
Yeah, Dame Judi Dench is no longer. Ralph Fiennes replaced her, and then now we have Dave Bautista coming in, coming off his big role in Guardians of the Galaxy, which was also a terrific film. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be coming in, and then we've got
Christoph
Waltz. That's
from Inglourious Bastards
and
Django Unchained.
Christoph Waltz. This is really the biggest all-star cast they've ever pulled, without a doubt. The Broccoli family is fucking really kicking some ass now. I guess people really want to... I gotta wonder if Sean Connery was Bond in this day and age. It was like LeBron when he was with the Cavaliers the first time. Couldn't make anything work. Couldn't pull any free agents. Now, Bond in recent years has proven it's still not only relevant, but can produce blockbusters like Skyfall. So it's like, okay, well now we're going to jump on the bandwagon and be able to get stars with us. So I guess my expectations for Spectre... I want to see it continue to do what Skyfall did, which was build more on Bond's past, because throughout the first however many films, you really just don't know a lot about him. It's him doing his thing, kicking ass, taking names, porking women, and it's great. It's a formula that's worked for decades, and I'm a huge Bond fan, but I'm loving this direction that they're taking the series and really getting more introspective with the actual characters, and I want to see that continue to happen. Obviously, we know that the new car is going to be an Aston Martin, which is pretty terrific. I'm a big fan of him keeping it British. I would like to see them tone down on the gadgets. I was happy to see them do that in Skyfall. I've never been a big fan of all the gadgets and shit. That's one thing that somebody who I know who's a Bond hater, if you will, is sipping that haterade, always points out to me is like why he doesn't like the Bond films, just because the gadgets are ridiculous. Which, I mean, you gotta take it into consideration what era they were making the films in. Okay, so it's the 70s and we're gonna put a jetpack in the film. Well, it's the 70s. It's not so far-fetched then. Plus, fuck that, we actually do have jetpacks now. So, who was right? Anyways, so yeah, I'm hoping they tone it down on the gadgets and keep it pretty low-key there. Other than that, I'm hoping to see some great performances. I think Christoph Waltz can really take this role and run with it and do spectacular things. I don't think he's going to surpass Javier Bardem, because I don't think anyone saw that coming. But he has the potential to be just as good, I think. He was pretty good in Django too. I wasn't a big Django person, but I liked his role, and I was sad to see him go. I'm just expecting more of the same, and then I hope that the Broccoli family does as good with this one as they've done with the other ones. What are you expecting for the next one?
Well, for Spectre, I have high expectations for this film coming off of Skyfall. They really set the bar high for like a good James Bond film. And with the cast list that they have now, I feel like if they utilize their cast, it could be a great film. I mean, Dave Bautista is coming off Guardians of the Galaxy, playing Drax. He gave a great performance in that. And if he keeps it up in Spectre, it could be a good film. And Christoph Waltz, he may not be able to top Javier Bardem's performance in Skyfall, but he doesn't have to. He is the villain in Spectre, and all he has to do is play someone as convincing and as diabolical as any of the other villains. Because the films that he has played in the past couple of years, Django Unchained, Inglourious Basterds, Big Eyes, Water for Elephants, he has taken over the film from all of the main casts just by himself. He's been supporting in every single film, and yet he is the most talked about actor. And I feel like he can take the James Bond film and run with it.
So, because in Inglourious Basterds, he played a villain that was like kind of dry, kind of like really serious. Like he didn't have to talk a whole lot. Like you knew what he was like thinking or saying, and his words really carried weight.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to play the same? Because I always want to see him just do something different, take some chances, be a fucking maniac. You know, I'd like to see that. Like, maybe if Bond pisses him off enough, he just goes off and starts screaming. Something that's not so Christoph Waltz. Just, like, really get into character and get out of the typecast of, yes, I'm very serious. This is going to be a very serious film, and if you piss me off, I will make you eat your parents. So, just, like, I'd like to see him do something, like, a little bit different and really be a fucking psychopath. Do you think he can pull that off? Do you think he will pull that off, or do you think that the Broccoli family and Sam Mendes are going to kind of keep him within what he's best known for?
Well, I don't really think they're going with the psychopathic look with Christoph Waltz. I think that they may give him a typical Christoph Waltz performance, but even then, that could still work for the film. Because, I mean, you don't really need a psychopathic killer for every James Bond film. He can be that villain that's smart and is diabolical and could do things behind the scene and could make the film really smart, really witty, and at the same time it could be James Bond's biggest challenge.
Yeah, you know what? Bond villains, now that I'm thinking about it, but they're actually kind of diverse. Like, they're not just the same guy in every film. You've got guys like Goldfinger who are sort of more of the calm type, and they're really good with their plans. And then you've got the one from Quantum of Solace. I can't think of the guy's name right now, but he's like a Cuban general.
Yeah.
And then you've got Le Chiffre, who's the poker player, and he's like really calm under pressure, but he has that streak where he's like afraid of the not the loan sharks. Who the hell is he? He's running from somebody in that, and he's actually afraid. Like, that's the first time I remember seeing a Bond villain be afraid of an outside force killing him. So he was the main villain in the film, but there were people after him other than Bond, people more badass than him. So I don't know. They're actually, now that I'm thinking of it, and then Bardem doing his thing, and he was the psychopathic killer. So they're actually like way more diverse than I remember him being, now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so that is going to do it for us today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Yeah, this was good shit. And Phillip, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
Spectator in the room, thank you for joining us. He's waving. That's a good thing. So, yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this. It's just something a little bit different for you guys, you know. Something to give you a little bit of break from the gameplay. Although probably while you're listening to this, there will probably be some gameplay. So, at least from the dialogue standpoint, you guys will be getting something a little bit different. So, thank you guys very much for watching, and we will see you next time.